Drugs and Addiction, an Anarchist Perspective, Dickie Dredd. And this is part 8 of the video series. We're still on chapter 1, The Drug War in the Mind. Section 6, Mum's Hidden War. My mum's addiction was the first I ever studied, long before I knew the word. Barley wine was her constant, sweet, thick, deceitfully innocent in its stubby little brown bottle. At first she drank for courage, a hangover from her beauty contest days when every pair of eyes felt like a test. Later it became ritual, the quiet pour, the steady sip, the glass stashed under the kitchen sink before we came home from school. She didn't drink to celebrate, she drank to stop shaking. The change came slowly but steadily. The alcohol didn't soften her, it sharpened her. Nights would start warm, even funny, then tilt. Jokes turned to jabs, laughter to accusation. I remember the double exposure of loving and fearing the same person in the same heartbeat. She wasn't a happy drunk, she was a haunted one. The drink didn't give her joy, it gave her control, fleeting and false. Each morning she swore it would be different. Each afternoon the bottle kept its appointment. Addiction hides the best in routine. The neighbours never said a word. Respectability is Britain's favourite disguise. The doctor handed out tranquilizers, friends offered sympathy, rehearsed from TV, and everyone looked away. There was no vocabulary for trauma back then. No sense that her drinking was a symptom, not a sin. By the time anyone called it addiction, she'd already built her own private asylum, a miniature version of one I'd later write about. In One Flew into the Cuckoo's Nest. Her living room was the ward, the bottles her medicine, the silence her restraint. And there's One Flew in the Cuckoo's Nest, which you can get from Amazon in either paperback or ebook form. Looking back, I can see her war mirrored the larger one. The state's war on drugs and her war on feeling were the same crusade in different costumes. Both punished vulnerability and rewarded denial. She didn't need prohibition, she needed permission to grieve, to rage, to exist without the fear of being judged unladylike. Instead, she medicated the noise until it became her identity. I can still picture her fingers round the brown bottle, gripping it like the proof she'd made it for another day. Her story shows the limits of management. Medicine offered sedation, not salvation. No one asked what the drink was trying to say. Mate reminds us that every addiction is a message from pain waiting to be heard. My mum's message, in hindsight, couldn't have been clearer. The social world had no space for her contradictions. She was expected to be calm, graceful, decorative and silent, and alcohol helped her stay all four, at least to begin with. When I started my own experiments, part of me was decoding hers. I wanted to know what she found in that bottle that was worth losing everything for. What I discovered was the same impulse, wearing different clothes. Intoxication as both rebellion and refuge. Her drinking reinforced the rules, mine tried to break them. But under both was the same motor, fear, inherited and unnamed. Addiction isn't genetic, it's mnemonic. It passes through memory, not blood. I wrote One Flew into the Cuckoo's Nest years later as an exorcism, to understand how authority dresses control up as care, and how trauma hides beneath manners. It was never just about the institution, it was about her house, our family, the polite cage called civilization. The nurses or orderlies who medicate instead of listening, the patients who play along, they were all there at the kitchen table. Mum wasn't the villain, she was the casualty of a culture that mistakes repression for respectability. Her war ended quietly. No grand collapse, no scene, just a slow fading. What stays with me is the lesson that addiction blooms wherever truth can't breathe. If we want a society that heals, we need to swap secrecy for solidarity. We need places where grief can speak without being sedated, where fear can be met before it hardens into habit. My mum never found that space. The rest of us still can. And next up we've got, we're still on chapter 1, and it'll be section 8, The Cult of Eternal Addiction.